Welcome back at 7:46 right now. So the school year is already underway for some kids, and many are starting today and this week. So we're joined this morning by the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Chris Reykdal, just to chat a little bit about the upcoming school year. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So recently, actually, we did this story last week about a new state audit revealing that not enough schools are giving students the chance to kind of finish lunch. And that can have so many impacts. So we wanted to follow up with you because you had mentioned a state audit about hopefully changing that. What's the latest on that?
Well, we did partner with the state auditor's office and said, go look at our practices and tell us how we can get better and align it to the research. And they did. And not surprisingly, a lot of young people, when recess follows lunch, eat the good stuff right away, the corn dog, the pizza, and they shovel all of the more nutritious stuff away,
Yeah.
and taxpayers see a lot of money go into recycle bins and go into compost bins and garbages because they want to maximize their recess time.
Right.
So the research is clear. Put recess first, then have a seated 20 minutes of lunch, and then proceed to class. This will take a while. We're going to implement some rules to try to change this, but this is really hard for overcrowded schools in particular and others. So we'll give them significant time, have a big public process about feedback, but our intent is to move to this better practice.
Yeah, because actually, I remember we talked about that in the story, that some of these overcrowded schools were like, we don't know where to put these lunches.
Right.
We've got to split up kids. There's not enough time. So that sounds like it's another issue as well.
It is, and we'll offer flexibility, but again, the whole idea of this policy is let's get to healthier kids. Let's make sure they're eating those healthier foods. Again, between federal tax dollars and state money, we spend a lot of money on meals, and we want to make sure kids get the nutrition.
Absolutely. Nutrition equals, probably better grades, more focus
Absolutely.
in school. That's all helpful. Also this past summer, this is another thing we've talked about here. The Department of Natural Resources is saying that a lot of state schools here are not structurally prepared for earthquakes. We had a small earthquake just a couple months back. So what are state officials doing right now to make sure that kids stay safe in school?
Yeah, so they've done an evaluation for a lot of our schools, very active seismic region that we live in. All of the new construction, and going back quite a few years, is relatively well prepared for a significant earthquake or seismic event. We've got a lot of old schools out there, though. Yeah. So they've identified probably 24 or so that are highest priority facilities. I'm submitting a budget request to the legislature to say, get started on those. Let's get those retrofitted. And in some cases, they're probably significant teardowns. And then every biennium, we'll just ask the legislature to keep making progress on this so that every single school is seismically secure, and parents can feel confident that if their kid walks into a school building and we have a large active quake, that their kids will be safe. That's the goal, and we're well on our way, but there's more work to be done.
I know the legislative session is always interesting things happen. I mean, how sure are you that that budget request could be fulfilled?
Well, you're never sure with a citizen
Yeah,
legislature. These are bipartisan issues, though. It's really good news. We don't see a lot of tension about the want to do that. They're balancing lots of other things, opioid epidemics, natural resource needs, higher education needs. So it's a tough job to be a legislator, and I deeply respect their significant trade-offs. We will put safety of children before anything else. That's my role. I'll be obtuse about it, uncomfortable for them and my want for that, but I do understand their challenge.
I'm sure a lot of parents definitely appreciate that, that's for sure. We also want to talk about February's record snow. That threw a wrench in a lot of school districts. A lot of schools kind of had to add some extra days at the end of the year. Ooh, we're looking at video of it. And I'm sure it was fun for the kids. But what was the big takeaway from those snowstorms for this upcoming year?
Well, I think a lot of districts prepare for this in traditional snow areas. They know how to build their school year early, maybe even start before the holiday break, as we saw more schools do this year. They build in that midwinter break. They get kids and families expecting to go to school later, and if the snow doesn't occur, great, they get out sooner. But they're prepared. It's a bunch of us who aren't used to that kind of snow, and so we see more districts starting to build that in as the future reality. Earlier starts, longer breaks in the middle of the year, things that you can sacrifice along the way to still get kids out on time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I know a lot of the kids, it felt very itchy towards the end of the year. I had a lot of mom friends going, oh my gosh, school's not over yet, and the kids are going crazy. All right, so some of the other school goals for the rest of the year, what would you like to see across the state?
Well, obviously, we just keep seeing student achievement going up, so the learning is what it's all about. But also this larger issue of mental health supports and supports for kids and families. Our schools are getting really good at being coaches and mentors and connectors. They don't necessarily deliver direct service in terms of chemical dependency or mental health supports in a lot of ways, but we're getting better at connecting kids and families who need that, and those partnerships really have to mature. When kids feel safe, when they get good nutrition, when they come to learn, they do learn, and they get great content from awesome teachers. But we've got a growing recognition that our job is to connect kids and families with those services. So you're just going to see those continue to grow.
Absolutely, because it does seem like in some of those cases that could be the first line of communication for a lot of those kids. Thank you so much, Chris, for being here. Certainly appreciate it, and good luck for this school year.
Have an awesome year, and everyone needs to slow down in school zones now that we're back to school. We take it for granted in the summer, but everyone's got to be super careful in school zones now.
That's a good reminder, absolutely, because you see them at first and you're like, oh, I forgot. Thank you so much for being here. We certainly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hey, we'll be right back here with more on Key 13 News This Morning.